My name is Miss Christy. I am a teaching artist in the PACE program, an art integration program of the Acadiana Center for the Arts and the Lafayette Parish school system in Lafayette, Louisiana. Today we are going to be learning about what plants need to survive and what kind of plants grow in Louisiana. If we pick a flower and put it in a vase of water, we don't get to enjoy it for very long. But today we're going to make a vase and fill it full of Louisiana flowers so that we can enjoy it for a really long time. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to make that vase. And what we're going to start with is a regular white piece of paper. I have here a white piece of construction paper. You can use writing paper, copy paper. You can even use newspaper like this. You just want to have a nice piece of paper that you can fold into thirds. That means we're going to fold it twice. So the first thing you want to do, you want to make it like it's an S. See how I'm bending the paper? It looks a little bit like an S or a Z or number 2. And you're going to fold it like that. And you're going to give it the creases that we need so that I'll be able to guide you where to put the marks for drawing our vase. So you can see here the paper is folded into 3 sections. 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting our line and our dots on this folded crease. That'll help me guide you through this art project. So I already have one up here I'm going to work with. You can see that my fold is here and here. I have it taped to the wall. So I'm going to use black so that I know that you're going to be able to see what I'm doing. You can use any color you want. Black is good, a pencil, markers, crayons, whatever you have. I have different kinds of crayons. I have metallic, I have regular crayons, I have neon crayons. So whatever you have at home, use that. So the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to make 2 dots. You're going to find this top fold right here, and you're going to put 2 dots in the middle. 1, 2. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to draw 2 diagonal lines. If you know what diagonal lines are, they're lines that go across. You can raise your arms high up in the air and stretch. And you can see my arms are creating 2 diagonal lines going up. So that's what we're going to draw. We're going to start with the dots that we made. And we're going to draw 2 diagonal lines going up. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to draw 2 more dots. Down here on the bottom fold, we're going to draw 2 more dots that are going to guide us for the next few steps. Connect the 2 diagonal lines at the top. Then we're going to give the body of our vase 2 curved lines. They're going to round out the sides of the vase. So you're going to start with this dot and you're going to draw a curved line down to the bottom dot. You're going to do the same thing with the other side. A curved line down to the other side. Go ahead and draw a line between those 2 at the bottom. And then we're going to give it a foot. So you can see over here in this painting on the vase that it has a foot. Those 2 lines at the bottom are just like what we did up there, only they're downward diagonal lines. So you can even try that. You can put your arms out and point to the ground and you can see that diagonal line. So that's what we're going to draw. 2 diagonal lines. Then you're going to connect those 2. The last part of our vase is the handles. It's going to look like someone's putting their hands on their hips, just like this. So you're going to start at the top, right here, and you're going to draw a curved line down to the body of your vase. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. you're going to draw a curved line down to the body of your vase. Now I want you to double it up. These are parallel lines. I want you to draw on both sides. I want you to double up that handle so that it looks like two handles that you can hold on to. So now that we have the outline of our vase, now we're going to decorate it. You can see in this painting done by Henri Matisse that he drew a vase very similar to ours. It has the handles, it has the foot, but it also has these blue lines. So we're going to decorate our vase in the same way using a blue crayon. You can use whichever blue you want. I have indigo because that's my favorite color. And the first thing we're going to do with our blue is we're going to give it a necklace, just like I'm wearing a necklace today. So from those two dots that you first made, you're going to draw a curved line that's kind of like a smile. After you draw that line, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to give it a belt right across its belly. Another curved line like a smile. Then do the same thing down here by the foot. So you have 3 different sections on the body of the vase, and we're going to decorate this bottom part with a zigzag line. So before you try, draw a zigzag line like this in the air. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And that'll give you a really nice zigzag line. What shows us that it's a zigzag line is it has those points. In this section of the vase, we're going to draw a wavy line. But we're not going to do a full wave. We're only going to go halfway. So start on the left or the right and draw a half of a wave. This is going to be a branch for some flowers. So what you're going to do next is you're going to draw some oval shapes coming off of this little branch. They look like leaves. Some little ovals. And when you're done with that, color them in. Color them all in. If you ever need to pause during this video, feel free to pause and catch up. I'm going to try to just move right along. The last part of the decoration here is we're going to put a circle, and you can put that anywhere you want. That's going to be like our little flower. So the next step is to create the same kind of painting style called Impressionism that Matisse did in this painting. And so what we're going to do, we're going to use a white crayon and we're going to go over that blue. And what that ends up doing is it ends up smearing the blue around a little bit and creating kind of a texture as if it were a real ceramic vase. Sometimes when you fire ceramic vases like this, in the hot oven, called a kiln, the glaze melts together and it blends all those colors together. So that's what we're trying to create right now. Go over the whole thing. And really smear that blue around. Don't be afraid to just kind of make a mess with it. You really want to see it start to smudge. The more you do this, the more it's going to look like Matisse's painting. Matisse painted this over 100 years ago, and a lot of artists of the time did work like this, where they took flowers from their own garden. They wanted to paint things in their own environment. So they'd create these arrangements and they would paint them, and the style is called still life. Can you say that? Still life. So after we've finished our vase, we're going to cut it out. So I have some scissors here, and when you're cutting with scissors, remember, thumbs up, and it's just like a hungry alligator. You're going to go all the way around your vase. And don't worry if you accidentally cut something off, we can always glue it back on. So I'm going to go all the way around. Sometimes I cut off those big, heavy, extra pieces. If you need some help from a grown-up, feel free to ask. So there's my vase that I'm going to fill with flowers that we're going to make next. So the next step is we're going to make some flowers. And we're going to create the environment that our vase is sitting in. So you can see in the Matisse painting that the vase is sitting on something. Can you guess what shape that is? And I'm sure you can tell that this is a table. Does it look like a round table? No, it looks like a square or rectangular table. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw that in. So I don't want you to put your vase on until the end. So keep your vase on the side and just work with me on building our table. So in the painting, the table looks like it's red and orange and maybe a little bit of peach and white. So I'm going to go ahead and use red and orange to start with. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw 2 lines to define that table. We're going to start on the right side of your paper. You can see that I'm going to look at the top of my paper and I'm going to follow it down with my finger, and this is the middle. I'm going to go just below the middle and I'm going to start right there. Just below the middle on the right side of my paper. I'm going to draw a single straight horizontal line. A line that goes side to side is called horizontal. Can you say that? Horizontal. Now before we drew diagonal lines to make our vase, we're going to draw another diagonal line. You can see that I drew this horizontal line just about to the middle, not all the way to the end. Even if you drew it all the way to the end, we're going to be able to fix that because we're going to be coloring this whole thing. So again, draw your horizontal line to the middle. And then you're going to draw a downward diagonal line to the other side of the piece of paper. Now you can see that I have a little bit of an extra line right there, and like I said, that's okay. If you made a mistake, we can fix it. So you can darken that line just so you know where it is. Now if you can tell, this already looks like a table. What we've done is with those 2 lines is we've created depth. We're tricking our eye into thinking that there's actually a table on this piece of paper. If we use our imagination, we could set our vase right onto that table. So if you look at Matisse's painting, he has this shape, but also behind the vase, he has these lines and patterns that create a room that vase is sitting in. So it's almost as if maybe this wall is painted blue and yellow. There might be some wallpaper here. There's some kind of decorative pattern, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, all the way down in a line. So we're going to go ahead and create that. You can use whatever colors you want. I'm going to use my black crayon to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to start at the top of our paper and we're going to draw a vertical line. Can you repeat after me? Vertical line. That's a line that goes up and down. And we're going to draw a vertical line down to our table. So you're going to go from the corner with your eye, you can trace it with your finger, to right here. It's not in the middle and it's not on the edge, it's right here. And we're going to draw a straight line down. If you mess up and your line is a little bit wavy, that's okay. We're going to create a pattern with that. Anything you do is going to make it more interesting. So I'm going to double that up. Remember, these are parallel lines. What are parallel lines? Parallel lines are two lines that run side by side and never cross. They're always side by side. So in this painting, you can see Matisse made two parallel lines, and then he created a pattern with little oval shapes. So really, you can use a pencil for this, or you can use your crayons. You can color it right away, or you can draw it in and color it later. This pattern that we just made, I used my black crayon, but again, you can use whatever colors you want. There's another shape over here that's yellow and then a dark blue. So we're going to draw that in. On the right side of your two parallel lines in your pattern, you're just going to draw a little line to show I'm going to put one color here and then another color there. You can see that Matisse put a yellow rectangle here. Maybe that's a wall going into another room. So again, I'm going to use my black crayon so you can see. And instead of on this side, on the right side, I'm going to draw that on the left. I'm going to go down, but not all the way, with a vertical line. Now I'm going to draw a straight horizontal line to finish that rectangle. So when I get my other colors, I'm going to color this in one color and the rest in another color. So when we put our vase and our flowers all together on our painting, on our drawing, it's going to be like this. If you want to use paint, you can. My kids love to use paint at home. So if your mom and dad or grandma, grandpa, or anyone has some paint for you to use, please feel free to use it. You can use different colors in all of these areas. You can mix red and yellow together. Do you know what red and yellow makes? Well, if you said orange, you're right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use orange now to color my tablecloth. So you can see in Matisse's painting, he just had a lot of fun with that paint. So you can go all over and color in that tablecloth, any kind of colors, in any kind of direction you want. Remember, this is your drawing or painting, and you can make it any colors and any pattern that you want. I'm going to mix a little bit of red into mine. Does anybody know what kinds of colors red, orange, and yellow are? If you said warm colors, you're right. Red, orange, and yellow colors are warm colors. I also have a little bit of peach. I'm going to put a little bit of peach in mine. Again, another warm color. Okay, so in the other parts of our drawing, we're going to color in those areas too. And again, you can use any colors you want. I wish I could take suggestions for what you might want me to see me draw my painting in or my drawing in. But I'm going to go ahead and use some of my favorite colors, which is purple and blue violet. So I'm going to do a pattern here. Matisse's pattern was blue and yellow, and I'm going to do purple and green. All right, so again, you can use any colors you want. I'm just going to continue coloring my background. See how Matisse used yellow here? I think I'm going to use yellow too. He also used a dark blue. I'm going to use a darker blue here. And that same yellow, I'm going to put back over here. in my rectangle that I drew. And you just keep coloring until the whole page is finished. I'm going to warm up this yellow a little bit. I love having a pocket full of crayons. So the more layers of color that you put, the better it's going to look. Don't let anyone tell you you only have to color with one color. You can color over and over and over the same spot with different colors to experiment and see what happens when you do those layers of different color. So first I put yellow, and then I put peach, and then I put orange, and it created this layered effect in that area. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a color for my background. And Matisse chose light blue. And I think one of the reasons he may have done that was because it almost feels like the daytime sky. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to color the background with a little bit of blue. I'm coloring in a vertical way, but if you wanted to, you can color side to side with horizontal marks. Remember, just play with the color. Don't be afraid to mix colors together. The most important thing you do is cover the whole paper. And for example, to change a color, if you want, say, this blue right here to be a little bit darker, add a little bit of black. It'll make it a really pretty dark blue. So I went over it once with blue, then with black, and then back over it with blue again. Remember, you want to blend these colors together. All right, so if I put my vase back on there, you can see that I've created an environment for my vase. The next part is going to be creating these Louisiana flowers. Louisiana has a lot of different plants that grow here. If you ever hear the term native plants, that means that those plants are actually from the area that you live in. So for example, in Louisiana, we have magnolia flowers. I have pictures of them here. They're big white flowers that grow in tall trees, and they have a wonderful lemon smell. We also have Louisiana iris. These are the state wildflower. Magnolias are the state flower of Louisiana. Irises are the wildflower of Louisiana. Both of these flowers grow here, and they grow in the areas where there's plenty of water. You also will see all over Louisiana these yellow cone flowers that are also called black-eyed Susans. They grow everywhere, and they're very hardy. They can grow in your yard, they can grow on the side of the road, they grow everywhere. And so these are the three kinds of flowers that we're going to be putting in our vase. What I want us to do is to create the flowers to actually go on the painting or the drawing. So once you're finished with the background, we're going to create flowers separately along with their leaves, and then we're going to put them with our vase on the picture. So what I want you to do is I want you to find all of the paper that you can use to color on, paint on, or just cut out. I have lots of different scraps of paper, like junk mail. I have cereal boxes. I have newspaper. And you can color, paint, draw on any of these things and then cut them out. For example, I took a box of mini wheats and I drew petals on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out these shapes and then I'm going to put them together. And on the other side, you can see there's white and there's yellow and orange. So I'm going to give you a few minutes. You can go ahead and press pause and pull together all of the things that you can use to make flowers. And then we're going to make flowers together. Okay, so if you've collected everything that you need to make flowers, I'm hoping that you looked in the recycling bin. If you found some old newspapers or old junk mail, you can always use construction paper if you have it. You can color everything on white copy paper and cut everything out that you've drawn. If you have a cereal box like this is Raisin Bran. I also brought mini wheats and Cheerios to show y'all some flowers that I made with that. You will open up the box. There's a little seam, and you open up the box like this, and you can either cut out shapes and show the purple or the blue, or you can color on this brown inside and you can get some really beautiful bright colors that way. I've done both to show you today, and I want you to know that if your picture in the end is on a thin piece of paper, these big heavy flowers might not hold up. So you can actually glue your entire project onto a piece of card like this. You can cut it out, glue your whole picture on it, and it'll make it nice and strong so that when you hang it up on the wall, it'll look great. So if you'll follow me, we're going to go over here to the table and I'll show you what I've gotten ready. All right, so right here I have a Cheerios flower. I made an iris. We're going to be making magnolias, iris, and black-eyed Susans. And I made a purple Cheerios iris. I also made one out of construction paper, and I made one out of newspaper. This is a magnolia that I made out of newspaper. So the way that we make this is we need to draw the petals. And I have here some that I've already cut out, and we're going to glue those together in a minute. But first I want to show you how to draw the petals. I have this purple construction paper. I have yellow construction paper for the black-eyed Susans. And I have a piece of white construction paper for the magnolias. So the way that you draw these flowers, and I'm going to use a black crayon so you can see, is you are making kind of a balloon shape. So you'll do your best to draw a circle. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle because petals tend to have a little bit of a wavy line. After you get that circle, you're going to want to put a tab. And this is where you will put the glue. So when you glue all your petals together, this is where you'll put a dot of glue. So we're going to draw 3 big ones, 3 medium size, and 3 small ones, because all of our flowers have 9 petals. So with this, I'm going to draw another circle for another big petal. It looks just like a balloon, doesn't it? And I'm going to draw my 3rd big circle with a little tab. And then I'm going to draw a medium-sized circle with the tab. And a 3rd medium-sized circle. And then some smaller circles. 1, 2, 3.
with the little tabs. These little tabs again are going to be where you put your glue. So I've already done that and I cut them out. Remember, when you're cutting, the hardest part is to hold the paper. Oops. The hardest part is to hold the paper. It's floppy and it wants to move around. So as you're cutting, remember, you can turn your paper and cut at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to glue these together. You're going to start with your big petals first. You're going to put one dot of glue on the tab. Then you're going to take the next petal and put it right on top. And these petals are arranged in threes. 3, 3, and 3. It's just like a number sentence. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals what? Does anybody know? 9. If you said 9, you're right. So again, I'm just putting one dot of glue and I put another petal. And I put another dot of glue and I put a petal. And I keep doing that until all my petals are on. So you can see that I put the medium-sized petal in the space between the first 3. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the tiny petals. I'm going to put it in the place where the big petals were. There's a little space in between the medium size for me to put this. So once you get all your petals in place, you're going to be really careful. You're going to press down very gently, but don't touch it too much. You want it to dry just like that. So what I've done with all my flowers is once I get them all layered like this, I'll just put it aside. So now let's talk about the leaves, because this is something that is going to be a little bit easier than the flowers. For irises have long, skinny leaves, just like this. I've already drawn one, but I want to show you how it's done. I'm going to draw with a dark green crayon on this light green. And they're really just long lines, a little bit of a wavy line, and then back to where you started. And if you want, go ahead and try to make different sizes. Big ones, small ones, and try to have them curve in different ways. And once you get them all drawn in, I colored these in because it was on white paper. You're going to cut them out. So remember, this floppy paper is the hardest part of cutting, and you want to turn the paper whichever direction you need to be cutting. I also used some of my scraps that I've had to make these. So this is going to be one of your leaves. The magnolia leaves are big and dark green. I've drawn some here. We're only going to need 3 leaves for our magnolia flower. And the way I drew these, I used a half of a piece of construction paper and I drew them in, starting on the right or left side. It doesn't really matter. You can start here or here. And you're going to draw as big of a leaf as you can. It's like an eye shape. Does anybody know what that shape is? Or what does it look like the most? It's just like an oval that comes to a point. So you can draw in the veins of your leaf. Does anyone know what the veins of the leaf are for? If you said it's to help with moving the food through the plant, you're right. The veins of the leaf are how the plant sends nutrients all throughout the plant. So I'm drawing 3.
And then you're going to cut those out.
All right, so those are our leaves. This is for the iris. So I have purple construction paper, but you can also use the purple on a cereal box. You can color purple on newspaper. Whatever you have is good. I'm going to use the black crayon so it'll be easy to see. The petals are very similar to the magnolia. It's like you're drawing a long balloon. So there's a big one. There's a medium size. And here's a small one. So you can see I put tabs on every single one of those petals so that they'll have a place to glue. And this is the iris that I already cut out. Again, you're going to put a glue dot, put the next petal on top, a glue dot, put the next petal on top, a glue dot, and you just keep going in that way until your flower is complete. Once you have all of your flowers and all of your leaves, you're going to put everything together, and then we're going to glue it onto our backdrop that we made. Remember that table that we made? We're going to be putting everything on that table. I used yellow scraps from making my black-eyed Susans on this iris. To make the black-eyed Susan, it's the same thing. You're going to go around in a circle. Instead of doing 3, you're going to pile them one across from the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are right here. I want you to remember the hardest part is holding the paper. We're going to go around, and don't forget you need to cut that tab to glue on. Don't forget that glue dot. After you get all your petals arranged in a circle, you're going to cut out a little black circle. So what I did was I just drew a circle on a white piece of paper and then colored it in and cut it out. I'll put another glue dot and then I'll let that dry. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put everything together. You can pause the video at any time to make your flowers and then press play whenever you're ready to put everything together. Now I have my background and I'm ready to put everything together. So remember my vase, I'm ready to put it on. I had it taped on before just to show you how it just sits on the table like that so nicely. So what I'm going to do, before I glue my vase down, I want to get an idea of how many flowers are going to fit. So I have my magnolia, and the magnolia is going to go here over the top of your vase. These are my leaves, and I'm going to fit them in behind my magnolia. And then I have all of my iris leaves that I'm going to tuck in like this. So you can see we're going to be building it up. So that gives you an idea of where we're going. You're going to start by gluing just the bottom of your vase on. So you'll put a little bit of glue. You'll find where you want it on the table and press it down. The leaves are going to be in the background, so we're going to glue those first. You don't need a lot of glue. I like to tell my students to use glue dots because that way they're not using too much glue. So those are going to be behind the flowers. I have one more magnolia leaf. And then we can start gluing on our iris leaves. If you've ever visited the swamp, you've probably seen irises growing. They love the wet habitat of the swamp. We have swamp habitat here, and we have the wetlands, we have grasslands in Louisiana, and all of these plants thrive here. All right, so now I'm ready to put a little bit more glue on the back of my vase. I'm going to glue that down onto the leaves. And I'm going to start by putting my magnolia. That's the first flower. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back and glue that down. Before I go any further, I want to show you that I made a UL Lafayette magnolia. You can see there's a UL basketball player there. You can see the jerseys. So you can make any kind of flower you want. It does not have to be exactly like nature made it. You can make it any way you want. I also have some mini wheats, black-eyed Susans. I think I might put one of those in there. So now we can start putting in our flowers. So I think I'm going to put one of these up here. I think I am going to use my Cheerios Cheerios iris. I also made a mini wheats black-eyed Susan. And remember, just like when we were coloring, you want to layer. You want it to look realistic. So now I think I'm going to put in another leaf, and you just keep building like this. Just keep building your bouquet. Here's a little tiny mini wheats flower. And then I'm going to put in this purple iris. If it sticks to the paper that you're working with, that's okay, because it'll actually help have a backing for it. I'm going to put in another iris leaf behind my iris. And it's okay if it sticks up over the paper. It makes it look more realistic. So Matisse was an impressionist, and he painted a lot of these paintings. He wasn't interested in making them look perfect, just like nature. He wanted to experiment with the paint. And so what we're doing here is we're experimenting with cutting paper out and making shapes. So I want you to do the same thing. Make this your artwork. If you're using glue sticks, try to, I'm going to tear that, make it shorter. Try to put plenty of glue. I know those glue sticks don't stick very well. If you're using this liquid glue, it takes a little while to dry, so you can actually move things around and change where they are. I made a little yellow circle for my iris. All right. So, I wish I could see everyone's artwork. This is my bouquet of flowers. In Louisiana, we have a wide variety of flowers. I encourage you to watch when you're out in Lafayette or anywhere in Louisiana. On the roadside, you can see these beautiful flowers. We will be posting a new lesson every day at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Some lessons will be visual arts and some will be creative movement. So be sure to come back and make art with us tomorrow. If you are interested in supporting programs like this, you can donate to the Acadiana Center for the Arts, who manages the PACE program, using a link on the website. And if you are interested in private lessons, the PACE artists are interested in helping the community by providing private art lessons or group or individual private lessons. You can find me at my website. That's lushceramics.com, Lush ceramics. And thank you so much for being with me today to do this art project. I hope to see you again tomorrow.